How do you know when it's time to stop a project or a part of your business and walk away? We've talked about this before in an episode with Madam Fancy Pants about knowing when to close a store, but I'm talking about the smaller moments, those moments where you've got something, I don't know, like a podcast, for example, and you need to decide, is it something I'm going to keep going or something that I'm going to close and bring to an end? My name is Rachel Klaver, and I'm the host of Map Marketing. And I'll let you in a secret. This is my last episode of Map Marketing for a while. And I wanted to share with you the process that I went through to decide why I was going to close it down for a while, what I'm doing instead, but also talk about the other reasons or the other factors that we need to think about as business owners that didn't apply to me, but might apply to you. This is all about you making the best decisions for your business and not having to worry about feeling like, oh, I've already invested all this time, this energy, and just got to keep going and doing it and doing it and doing it. There are times and seasons for everything. And this podcast, this episode is all about the season and the end of the season of Map Marketing. Is that meta? Is that a meta thing? I don't know. Anyway, my new podcast is called Confident Content. It launched a few weeks ago. Please do go and check it out. But listen to this one today too, because this is my little thank you to those of you that have been loyal listeners. And if you're new to this podcast, I still have a whole lot of other ones you can go and listen to. Plus, come along to Confident Content. Right, let's get started. Welcome. This is Map Marketing, and I am your host, Rachel Klaver. I love helping small business owners become more confident and more capable with their marketing. So this podcast is all here to help you do just that. It's me and the help of some great guests helping you learn new skills, new strategies and ideas. Let's jump in and get started. Hello, it's Rachel Klaver, your host of Map Marketing, and today is a bittersweet day for me because this is my last Map Marketing podcast for the foreseeable future. Never say never is a big belief for me, and I really wanted to talk about what was my decision and the reason that I wanted to change and move to a different podcast, which is Confident Content, but also why that was a reason why I wanted to pause or stop this podcast for a while. Because one of the things that I talk about with my clients is to be really gutsy and know when to end something. Just as important as knowing when to start something, we also need to know when to end it and make a conscious decision. One of the things that I really believe in is if you're doing something and you immediately know it's not right, then it's very good to ditch out of it. It's actually better to make a yes or a no, let your yes be yes and your no be no, than be half-hearted in something for a long period of time. And I see a lot of people, like let's just take podcasts, for example, who go, I'm going to have a podcast, and then they do it for a few weeks, and then they skip a couple of episodes, and then they come back and do it. And all it does is create an unstable and stressful point for us over and over again. And this is like this for so many other things in our marketing and in our business and our planning. There are definitely times that I have started something and gone, this was the wrong move. An example for that at the beginning of the year was we decided to start running paid events. And I've written about this actually on some social posts and things like that because I really love being in front of people. I know that what I do is really valuable. And I know that when I've done free ones, people always have a go at me for, Rachel, no one's going to value you if you do free events. You should charge for it. Look, I know that they're valuable. I love that they're valuable. The reason we do them free is that I actually have a huge personal need as myself to continue to develop my opportunity to talk and teach and train a group of people. But that doesn't necessarily mean that that's my core business. Our core business is me working one-on-one with people in a marketing strategy and my group coaching program. I also do get paid to speak at conferences and get paid to speak at organizations and things like that, which I really love. But there's nothing lights me up more than getting to speak in front of a group of people. However, I had to weigh this up. If I was going to put all my energy into helping sell day courses, like individuals courses, maybe for like $500 a day or even $700 a day, and then I weighed that up with the event and effort that it took me to sell a marketing strategy or a course, which is $5,000 or $3,500, then and they're both the same value, why would I put all my value into selling a one-day course to one person? And I think that sometimes we have to make decisions that aren't necessarily about finances in terms of like, oh, well, the way things should look, in terms of those things. Like, I know that people may judge me for having free courses and then people won't trust it because they think it's free, so it's rubbishy. But actually for me, I knew two things. One, I had to focus on higher value things and sell those things so that our business was sustainable and grew and that I was using my time wisely. And two, for me as a person and me for the things I want to do in my life, I had to still run public courses. And putting those two things together meant that I had to make a decision to stop doing paid courses and paid public courses or trainings and start offering free ones, even though that didn't make sense. Now, those free ones do actually feed into my business and it grows. I get clients from every time I speak, I get a client, sometimes more than one client. So they pay their way, they make money, they're profitable, but I have to cope with the idea that some people will judge me on that and not do it. So sometimes we have ideas and reasons why we stop something, and we've got to weigh up and think about how we do that and why we're wanting to do it and why it's important. It's the same with if you want to have a shop, sometimes we want it because it's the ego, not because it's actually going to make us money. And we've got to think, is that actually the best solution for us? And maybe I could go and do markets because it's less of a commitment, or there's all these different things we have to think about. Is the thing we're doing an ego-driven thing? Is it something that's going to fit into our business? Is it a good use of our time? And so when it came to Map It Marketing, there were a couple of things that were starting to make me feel like I didn't want to have this podcast anymore for a while. I love Map It Marketing. I think it's a really powerful one. I do think too, though, that I started it on episode 121. So I've been doing it for over 2.5 years. Well, 2.5 years. It's a long time. And we've seen, is that right? 2.5 years? It must be. So I must have started doing it during COVID, or I can't work out what the time. Yeah, I think so. I must have started doing it. I think I started it in COVID. I don't know. And I can't remember. It's too far ago. Too long ago. But one of the things that I did. I started in COVID. I don't know. I don't know. Rachel, you're wasting time. But one of the things that happened is I knew that I had to get past 7 episodes because most people stop after 7. And then I was like, and I'm not going to let people, I'm flaky. I've had a podcast before. I flaked out on it. I'm not going to flake out on this one. So it was really important for me that I had something that was consistent. And I built structure and strategy, and I took it seriously. And I have continued to take it seriously. But as I've grown and my body and my brain has shifted and changed, sometimes I've done episodes that I'm not 100% gone, that's really what I wanted to do. Sometimes I've kind of gone off the charts of what I want to do. And what I really, really care about is teaching you how to do content better, how to do marketing better. And some of the things I did when I'd have the guest, we'd start talking about their life and things, which was super interesting. But I'd come out and then go, did I actually make your business better today? You, the listener, better today with this? You might have enjoyed the podcast, but it might have been light on the stuff that I really wanted you to do. And through that time too, I've become a content marketing coach. I have a content marketing coaching program. I've really decided and discovered that content marketing is the thing I really want to teach about, organic content marketing. And that I could do that all under Map It Marketing and just go, this is the podcast. But I really wanted to actually have a name and a podcast that actually said, this is just about content. So I could also run this as well as that one, but it was going to be tricky. It would affect my ability to cope with everything else I'm doing. A podcast takes a lot of time. It's not just the time I'm talking to you. It's writing the show notes. It's planning the content. It's talking to the guests. And I have admin people who help me with some of these things. It's posting the posts. It's writing the posts. It's promoting it. It's writing my combined, like my staff column, which comes out of it as well. It's writing my weekly newsletter that's on Substack. And there's all this other stuff that comes out of the podcast, making clips out of it. Sometimes I do that as well. So there's all this other stuff, and doing that with 2 podcasts and trying to grow our business and grow my coaching program and all those other things just felt too hard. So the decision is to close Map It Marketing down. And I want to go through, there's actually quite a few reasons why you should stop a project. And I thought I'd just go through with these with you. The main one for me would be that if I kept on doing this one and I did confident content, it would start to affect my day-to-day work. And so to me, that's an immediate no. If it's going to cause problems, it's going to make my clients suffer, that's an immediate no, because my paying clients come first. In priority for me, it's my one-on-one clients, and then as a group, my group coaching clients. Now, they are obviously as important as my one-on-one, but I have set days that I attend to them on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then other days they might get me, but I'm not on call to that group coaching clients all the time. And then I have my stuff that I've got to do to make the team run well, and I've got things to make the business run well, and then I've got myself, and I've got my life. And so to have all those things working, I knew that I had to make sure that I took something out to add something in. And so podcast made it really good. Related to that is that another reason that it could be difficult is that you'd be unable to deliver on your promises. So for me, in terms of this, I don't know if I could do a 2 weekly podcast. What I think I can do is probably come back to Map It Marketing sometimes to do a series. Like I'm thinking I'd quite like to do a series about ADHD entrepreneurs, for example, or I might do a series about I don't know, like webinars or something that doesn't quite fit my other side, and I could just do like a whole series on it. That excites me quite a lot, and that's easier because then I can go, this is an 8-part series through marketing to do these things, and then you can listen to that series, and I like that idea. So it would be like season 2 would be about webinars and how to write a webinar for promotion, and season 3 might be about Pinterest and more deep dive, and it'll be things that I might not be doing in my content podcast. So I quite like that idea. The other reason that it's a time to reason is it would be taking up too much time and resources. So if you've got things that are going, actually, it's taking up, like it's expensive for us. It's an investment to run a podcast. You know, we pay my audio engineer and we pay the team to help, and then there's my time. So that's another reason why I've made a decision to do that. And then another one that really fits is so that it doesn't really align with my company visions or goals. Like for me, going deep into content marketing is really important. Map It Marketing was always more general than that, around all sorts of different areas of marketing. You know, we've done letterbox marketing and other things that aren't to do with content marketing. And so I really wanted to narrow that down. And so it's for you too. Like if you're doing something and the project doesn't align with your strategic objectives, then it's important to look at whether it's a good idea. And if it doesn't serve that long-term strategy, it should be out. So that was another one that caused me to have some issues. But there's a whole bunch of ones that don't deal with that. The cost of this one and me doing it has always not been anywhere as near the benefits. The benefits of podcasting for me have been massive. And I can't believe how many different people listen to this podcast. And I want to say thank you so much for you if you've listened, even if this is your first one. I mean, bit shit for you if this is the first one, because you know, but you've got all that catalog to listen to, you know, and I love it. I can use them with clients who ask for things. I'm like, hey, I've got a podcast on that, and I can give that information. The benefits of this has been so powerful. And so sometimes if the costs are more than the benefits, that's a really good reason to pull the plug, but that isn't the case with this. It is, you know, obviously it's a time cost and things, and I want to save money from the other one to focus on this one, but often like just to blow out a cost generally, this has not been that at all. This has been one of the best ideas I ever had to grow our business. And so that's not what's causing it. Another reason might be that team members are saying, hey, you know, there's a problem with this. And I will tell you now that has also not been a problem for me. In fact, they were all pretty annoyed that I was suggesting that I'd start another podcast and ditch this one. They all wanted me to stay with this one and just keep on using that. But I really wanted to start fresh. So in that case, as a business owner, it was me pointing out the challenges and not them, and they weren't 100% happy. It could be that you're dipping into your money emergency funds. It, again, hasn't been a problem. Our business has grown partly because of the podcasting, and that certainly hasn't been the problem. And the related one around not seeing results has also not been a problem. I have lost track of how many people that I have come to us as a business from those sort of things, which is really important. So I do want to say, you know, if you are trying to work things out and trying to go and think about things like, is this becoming a difficult problem in terms of functioning as a business? Is it taking too much of my time, my money? Is it still aligning with where I want to go long term? Is it taking up the right amount of time and resources to get the results that I need for any of your projects that you're doing? And for me, I want to say thank you, because the person that's the podcaster that is here today, that is running this one and this episode while also launching my new podcast, Confident Content, is not the person who thought that she would last 2.5 years running a podcast. I'm not the person that thought that I would actually have that in me. I've learned so much about myself. I've learned that I can be an intensely organized person. I work ahead all the time. I am recording this one almost 2 months before it comes out, because I've got to get this one sorted and launched and ready to go so that I can have my other one going and ready. That is not the person that I thought I was 2 years ago, or 2.5 years ago. This podcast has made me a more focused person. I have delighted with every single person that has shared it and suggested that people listen to it. Thank you so much for everyone that is, I hope that you come and listen to my new podcast, but if you don't make it across, this is the time for me to say thank you. And yes, Map It Marketing will be back for seasons in the near future, and I hope that you listen to those ones. And otherwise, this is me, Rachel Klaver, signing off and saying thank you, and thank you. Remember, there's always time for you to decide when something doesn't serve you. And the moment is to be courageous to stop it and find that thing that is going to serve you, or make the decision that you're just going to keep on going to the bitter end until everything is gone, all pleasure is gone. And I know which one I'd prefer to do. And I hope you do too. Be well, be kind, and thank you. As I said in the podcast, thank you so much for being with me, sharing my journey on Map It Marketing. Please do come along to Confident Content. And remember, with this podcast, with that podcast, whichever podcast I am hosting, come along, be part of our group on Facebook, Map It Marketing. It's all about content marketing for small business owners, and I would love to have you along. Ask questions in there. Questions in there are free, guys. Ask them and I will help you. I would love to help you on your content marketing journey. And thank you. Thank you so much for being part of this. And remember, there's a season for everything. So if you're stuck in a moment and going, should I just let this go? Use those ideas that I included in this podcast today to evaluate it and make that decision, because we don't keep on doing the things that no longer serve us. We keep our lives clear and straight and focused on our goals. And sometimes it means starting things. Sometimes it means persevering with things. And sometimes it means ending things. Have a great week.
If you love what you heard today, be sure to hit subscribe. And if you loved this episode in particular, I'd love it if you shared it on social media. Remember to tag me in so I can say thank you. Have a great week, and we'll talk soon.